Good evening and welcome to Inside the Mental Health. I'm Bob Bienvenue. This is me, Bob, with my beard. I'm growing a beard. I tried to do that. This is the show about mental health and also about the human condition that we all have. I would like to welcome our panel, the host, associate producer Richard Phelps.
Hey, everybody.
The man of all seasons, music connoisseur, food connoisseur, and computer guru, like Denver Nobles likes to call him. and next to me is the lovely, beautiful inside and outside, highly intelligent Nellie Harrington with a beautiful blonde hair.
Thank you, Bob. Welcome, viewers. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
And right next to Nellie is our guest musician, Derek Savoy. And Derek's going to be playing a few songs. And Derek is really, really good. We heard him at Atmosphere, and I had to ask him to come on, and he so nicely agreed to come on. So thank you, Derek.
Yes, sir.
But when we start off the show, we start off with asking for prayer, and that's how we always start off the show. And I ask for prayer for Patsy Bird. First of all, I'd like to say hello to Lee Gary, Tarina, and Christian. Lee is my cousin. Tarina is his wife. Christian's his son. And also hello to Oline Gary, my aunt, who's 92, the most fantastic person you ever want to meet. So kind. And she's a lady I respect the most in the world. And also say hello to her daughter, my favorite cousin, Joan Seymour, who has been a really, really great friend to me, and I love you, Joan, to the max. And also, what can I say about Miss Jackie Ballou? She is an angel. Miss Jackie's always there for me. I love her to death, Miss Jackie. You're a true champion of inside the mental health and into helping people, man. Very kind, classy lady. Hi, Miss Jackie. And thank you, Miss Jackie, for putting up with me. I would also like to say hello to and prayer for Denver Nobles and his wife Rosalind there, and also for Emily Welch. They're facilitators. Emily couldn't be here. It's our other co-host. They're facilitators for NAMI, the National Alliance for the Mentally Ill, the chapter where me and Richard always go. We're members. And also, I'd like to ask for prayers for Pete Delcom, and also definitely and also I'd like to say hello to Keith and Sandra Guidrell, my friends Keith and Sandra Guidrell, and ask for prayers for them, that they have a good life, and like we always ask for prayers for people. They're good friends. And also, I'd like to ask for prayers, and I know we go out to 500,000 homes, and for Patsy Bertrand and her family. Now, like I always say, Patsy Bertrand is quite a lady. She is quite she is something else, She's a piece of work. She is both beautiful outside as well as lovely and beautiful inside. She's kind to everybody. And she always put up with me with all my shenanigans and foolishness. She never asked me to leave a house when I would go there. Even though some of her kids didn't like me going over there bothering her, Sometimes with my schizophrenia, I would just go to a house, and she had a bar in the house, and I'd sit at the bar and not say a thing, not talk to anybody but her. But most of the time I was just depressed, smoking cigarettes like that. And she never asked me to leave, even though she wanted to shoot me, probably if she would have had a gun. But if I would have had a gun, I would have shot me too, So we pray for Miss Jackie, Miss Patsy Bertrand, beautiful lady, and also for her families there. She lost her son Toby, and we pray for Lamar, his wife, Toby was a great guy too, you know. And pray for Lamar's wife and Dylan, his son, and Dixie and Dusty. And also pray for my friend Liz, Patsy's daughter Liz. And of course now we might as well go for the whole tangent of Rob and our daughter, Patsy's daughter, and Debbie, and Possum, the son. Possum is a class act guy too, always been on my side. You know, I love Possum to death. And of course, Janae and Tyler. And hi, Bryn. Hi, Bryn. I hope you're watching, Bryn. Bryn is Rob and Patsy's daughter's stepdaughter. So anyway, I guess that's enough of our prayers.
I've got some prayers.
Okay, Richard.
For a lady named Lucille that just got out of the hospital, dehydration. For Juju. And just prayer in general for some folks going through some economically hard times, that they would find employment or be able to get on disability. And there's an event I want to announce very quickly. Saturday, the 24th from 10 to 6, there's going to be a group fundraiser to benefit a veterans advocacy group called Heels for Combat Boots. There'll be hot rod and rat rod cars, ladies' nice pinup contest, food vendors, all at Northgate Mall between Willow and Castile alongside the Evangeline Freeway. I forgot to bring the flyer, my bad, but it's free, so come on out and enjoy.
Okay.
And support our veterans who are not being helped very well by the VA. There's other veterans groups here in this area that we've had them on our show. We cannot forget our veterans.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Richard. And like y'all know, if y'all have been watching the show, we always start by reading. Me and Nellie write, and I'll read Nellie's books, and Nellie reads mine. So let me write what Nellie wrote. Read what Nellie wrote. Yes, I wrote the most of it last night after the show. It was great. It was a river of emotion flowing down the canyon, cutting new crevices for the water to flow, building new ground on which to stand, new thunder that has never before echoed through that canyon and filled the loving sky. I could not only hear the thunder, I could see it. I stood on top of an icy cold bolt of lightning-shaped energy. The only heat in the bolt was a thin red-orange hair that ran through the middle of the bolt. I think this is one strand of Cammie's hair. The girl is Cammie. Today I am seeing Boed. Boed is so cool. Boed is the combination of the he and the she essence merge. The voices of many souls were poured into the guest like the she essence merge, like the yin and the yang when Lady Eldridge walked the earth in the physical. She studied all cultures, philosophies, and teachings. Like Mr. Lightly and White, she dedicated all of her knowledge to the expansion of the universe and universal love. She poured all of her intellect into this means to no end, to the continuum of consciousness and new awareness. She in turn poured all this knowledge and hunger into Shanti. Shanti is the main character of the book. When she created her, she in turn poured all this knowledge, and she knew that she had the power to create a transformation that went beyond anything ever imagined in a totally unique manner, or there was no humdrum in anything in Andress's life or her ways. Not a single strand of her DNA would allow for it. And this Adape knew. Did you know, Rita, that Eldridge had a vision, such a vision of love, and nothing no one could take her eyes from it. Her focus was what would protect the new paths that led to the new awareness garden gates. And through these passing gates lie hidden and waiting, safe within the crystal grid, the key to the kingdom of Lady Eldridge. Beloved Eldridge knew she held the power to do this. Now she must form the fortitude. The fortitude was not just an emotion, it was to become an obelisk that stood for eternity. No wind or earthquake could tear it down. Eldridge knew in her heart that Shanty, that's the main character. Eldridge was the one that created Shanty, right?
That was her grandmother, right?
Shanty was the key, so she made her and poured all she was and knew all the love and awareness into her. Do you know it is in you too, dear friend and Rita? So come with me now, strap on your bowhead, take a deep breath and one step forward on this adventure, and together we will find the key of now through the obliques of fortitude. The light of Brandon shines. Brandon is a new character that lives in Grammy's house and is the main guardian of Shanty. Shanty wants to enter a bowl competition and every boy is laughing at her. Little baby bows and arrows, she can't hit a single target. Well, not yet, anyway. Love. Anyway, did I do all right?
Yeah, you did great.
Okay.
Imagery.
This is Nellie. She's an excellent writer of imagery. Let me read something from my book. And Nellie can read from my. You want to read from my book first?
Sure.
Okay.
This is from Bob's book, From Light to Darkness to Glory. I'm so proud of Bob because he's an author now, and he's really using his talents and reaching out to people and getting a lot of information out there to help people. And it's also become a therapy for him. And he's teaching other people to use writing as therapy. And it's wonderful, So this is from his book. As many mental illnesses as there are out there, I met people with them. I learned about the different chemicals in the brain like serotonin and epinephrine and dopamine and the neurotransmitters that send signals through the brain, and how when these chemicals are controlled, the mental patient is stable and can better lead a healthy life. I even went to an educational course and some other meetings to learn all about illnesses and their symptoms and the different treatment for them. For instance, I learned that aversion therapy for people with obsessive compulsive disorder who are obsessed with different elements and fears, like fear of dirt, how aversion therapy can help the client learn to deal with this disorder, as the client is exposed in very small steps to what they fear with support, such as a doorknob covered in germs. The patient is coaxed into touching the doorknob, is supported, and is talked into not washing their hands immediately with the support of their counselor.
Thank you, Nellie.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's pretty
that's
cool.
awesome.
Okay, I'm going to read from my book, The Time Traveler. This is the book. It's a book already. Right now I'm editing it, and they'll be edited shortly, and it will be on Amazon shortly, so I'm excited. Then, this is where Jared and Susan, the main characters. Susan is Jared's wife. They got married in Elizabeth's 1959 England. They got married in Westminster Abbey by Bishop Oglethorpe, who is a real character in history. But anyway, they're married. And they're in Atlantis right now, and they're talking to King Gordon. Jared then spots one of the trainers blowing on a fuse, which amazes him when the dolphin responds to the command of the trainer. They're in the aquarium center. The king then says to Jared, The dolphin is one of the most intelligent animals on the planet. I've heard that, Jared says. There was research being conducted with dolphins in our day. The king said, they have their own language which we are trying to figure out. The king says, we have in fact learned a little of their vocabulary, and if luck permits, we will be able to incorporate the dolphins into our navy like our whales. Whales, Susan says. Yes, whales, he replies. Let me show you around a little bit. The time travelers are brought to a giant aquarium where they witness a colossal scene of very many huge sharks swimming around. There is a great white shark, the king says. It grows to over 20 feet, and that one, he says, is about 21 feet long. The king then says the Latin name for the great white is Carcharodon carcharos. Well, I can't remember. Wow, Joe says, that is a long name. Yes, the Latin names are very intense, the king says and continues. The great white is found in both the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, from Newfoundland to Argentina, in the Gulf of Mexico, off the coast of France, to South Africa and Hawaii. Look over there, Jared and Sue, the king says, pointing what he describes as Carcharinus lecus, the bull shark, which is blue and lives in the Pacific, from your country, America, to Brazil. Jared and Susan then look where the king is pointing again to a large shark, which is whitish and dotted, and the king, who Jared and Susan have figured is very intelligent, and says, Stagotoma fastatim, the zebra shark of Southeast Asia, or as it is called by Slook, the leopard shark. The couple with the king's garden see other kinds of shark, like the blue shark and the hammerhead shark, and a few other sharks even the king did not know. However, the scene was a spectacular scene, as in other aquariums. Jared and Sue saw large swordfish, barracuda, the giant garfish about 8 feet long, as well as giant redfish and tarpons. It is an amazing sight to the time travelers, and they know this is the best part of their trip to Atlantis, and figure that nothing will top off this exhibit. Then, to their surprise, they are brought outside and are astonished at what they see. With their very own eyes, they see humpback whales in a very large pool, about 4 to 7 acres. To Susan and Jared's delight, the whales are delightful as they swim and jump in and out of the water. Some of the whales have pieces of leather-like saddles around their waists, with Atlantean men and women sitting on their backs, swimming in and underwater as the humpbacks dive underwater and then come back out of the water. They were jumping completely out of the water with their riders hanging on the halter like bridles, waving one arm overhead, like Jared told Susan, cowboys in the rodeos we saw back home. That's how was that?
Excellent.
Good imagery.
Good.
Okay, this is from my book, my sequel to this book, The Time Traveler. This book is going to be called Time Tripping in Other Planets. They're going to meet Leonardo da Vinci in I forgot when, in 1503. After the toast, they're in Jared's apartment, and they just toasted. They always do a toast before they leave. After the toast, Jared and Susan climb aboard the time machine, and at 12 o'clock, Jared turns on the machine, and at 12:01 pushes the ivory levers forward, starting the humming and spinning of the machine around and around with daylight to darkness, blinking slowly and then faster as the figures of the doctor fades from view. The colors then suddenly appear, going into and out of the machine, and the adventurous bodies by causing the usual pleasurable feelings of laughter all around their essence, as they are suddenly thrown into the wormhole with a loud clap of thunder, and the couple find themselves in the long gray luminescing tunnel with peaks into the past and future, complement of the time windows they now look through. Look, it's Michelangelo painting the Sistine Chapel in Rome in the 16th century. Susan, who is now privy to all the information of the painting without ever studying about it, but thanks to the wormhole's ingenuity, or the aliens, or even God, she and Jared know all about what they are witnessing through the time windows. Look over there, Susan points to Jared as they witness the great Eric Hyden winning one of his 5 gold medals in the Lake Placid Olympics in 1980, where they will soon go to watch. Then after a brief look at the millions of stars dotting the planets above them, the machine is suddenly turning around and around again and is out of the wormhole with daylight to night time, blinking back and forth until it suddenly stops in daylight in the chambers of Da Vinci. Gazooks, Da Vinci shouts as the machine suddenly appears in his chambers as he's lying in his bed resting. My friends, Jared and Susan, how pleasant it is to see you, Da Vinci excitedly exclaims to the time travelers. Then after the formalities of shaking hands and hugging each other, Da Vinci says, I thought I would never see you again. After all, it's been a few years since I last saw you. We know, Jared says, and we decided it was then we look up old friends, and you were the first on our list. And how are our friends the Quatrainians, Da Vinci asked. Roland, I last heard from them was when they told me you had destroyed the comet. I haven't heard from them since then a few years when I last saw you. Okay.
Very nice.
That's not too bad.
Good
No,
description,
really good.
time and place.
Not too bad, Rich.
It puts you right in the story.
Y'all like it?
Yeah.
Thank you. So anyway, those are some of my books. Now, Derek has been waiting, so Derek is going to sing some of his own songs. So we're going to get Derek to sing.
What's the first song you're going to be performing for us tonight?
This song's called Peace.
Okay, can you tell us like a little bit of the inspiration for the song?
Well, it's mostly it's kind of a heartbreak song, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. So most of the songs I'm recording right now are mostly along those lines, I guess. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of people out there that are going down the same road and, coming out of heartbreak and dealing with that.
Mhm.
And, as a healing arts practitioner, I always try to offer some sort of tool for you to deal with that. And if you think about your true heart, and we have a true heart and we have a false heart. Think about your true heart, and in your palms you have a beautiful pink energy. While he's singing the song, let it be a healing for you. This is a wonderful gift, from our songwriter tonight from the show. And so take your palms, and you can place whichever hand feels good, place it over your heart and let the pink energy flow. You can do it on your solar plexus, which is around your navel, on your head, into your mind, and just let this flow into you and bring you a wonderful healing, and we're all right here with you. We're all here.
That's we're all here. We're
Right
here
with
for
you.
you.
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you, Derek.
I know that I'm going down, going home, familiar road. And I know that I'm going down with this ship and all it holds. And I see rain, it's coming down. Ooh. And I see your face, the way that it's lingering now. funny how we fell in love. It's funnier how we fell out. But I guess these things happen, dear, what those movies don't talk about. The ones that you watch on Sunday night. Ooh, that guy met a girl, things are alright. Oh, things aren't alright. You can't keep my heart, try to set you free. Your bondage, my curse to keep. Within these blue walls, memory will give my heart, body, and soul no peace. You give me no peace. There's always those things left unsaid. But me and you could fill a book, one in which the pages ripped and the message it never stuck. It's one that I'd read every night. Ooh, see what I missed, things I'll make right. All the things I'll make right. You can't escape my thoughts and try to set you free. Your bondage, my curse to keep. Within these four walls, your memory will give my heart, body, and soul no peace. Give me no peace. When you take all of me, all you are memories. All you take all of me. Oh, and you are all I need. You're all I need. You're all I need. You're all I need.
That was awesome, man. I did good picking together.
Sir, thank you.
That's awesome music.
Derek, where'd you get the influence for that song?
Like I said, it's mostly just
Heartbreak
yeah.
from relationships.
I feel like inspiration always comes best when you're at a low point. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like that when you're in a low point, being creative, writing songs, writing books, kind of helps you pull yourself out of that. You know.
Yeah.
Well, the Bible talks about, like when you're on the mountaintop, everything is great, but you learn your lessons where you're in the valley at the bottom, and that's I'm sure that's how you got your inspiration to write your songs.
Where would we be if we didn't have it? Music and the writing and the flowing, the creativity. When you learn to use it as a tool, it really can be your salvation. It can really pull you through, those deepest, darkest moments when you are looking
Just
to
you.
yourself and, you don't have anything else. You've got to be ready. You've got to have some tools. You've got to have, because we all go through the valleys and the peaks and the highs and, different obsessions and different things and passion. And, that's part of being human is about. But, I believe that when we are separate from one another, that adds to, the mental stress and the anguish. And I watched a special about a guy that gave a talk on TED Talks, and he said, all my life I was the clown. I made everybody else laugh, and I put on a smile. But he said, I had depression so bad, but no one ever knew about it. And he said, then one day it caught up with me, and he said, it took me off surprise, and it's like somebody pulled the rug out from underneath my feet, and I wasn't prepared for it. because he said I had dealt with everybody else's pain, everyone else's depression, but I had never really looked at mine and ever had any support. And he was suicidal. He became suicidal, and thank God, he got the help he needed. So he went and he talked about this, and he said it takes the whole village, for people to support one another, because we all have that at one time in our life or another. And feeling like you can't reach out to people, that's when you get into a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Your famous Bob.
Let me see what this is.
Well, Derek, who's your musical inspiration? Any particular musicians?
Probably the Avid Brothers, Gregory Alan Isakov, stuff like that. Hilsier.
Good.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay, like Nellie was saying, leading on to depression. That's what we're going to be. Last week we talked about spirituality to deal with depression, like how great spirituality is. And of course, we're all advocates of spirituality. It has helped enhance us all and helped us aid in our dealing. We all have disorders, and some of them are they can be pretty tough, But tonight we'll be talking about depression on a kind of like a secular level. And let me read this. Depression is a real illness that impacts the brain. Anyone suffering from depression will tell you it's not imaginary or all in your head. Depression is more than just feeling down. It is a serious illness caused by changes in brain chemistry. Research tells us that other factors contribute to the onset of depression, including genetics, changes in hormone levels, certain medical conditions, stress, grief, or difficult life circumstances. Any of these factors alone or in combination can precipitate changes in brain chemistry that lead to depression's many symptoms. It is unfortunately the World Health Organization. Now this is wrong, but I'm going to read this. The World Health Organization characterizes depression as one of the most disabling disorders in the world. It is actually the most disabling orders, and it affecting roughly 1 in 5 women and 1 in 10 men at some point in their lifetime. Of course, I beg to differ. It affects about most people, and I would say that half the people, the population in the, not half, but at least a quarter of the population go through depression, rudimentary, a lot, It is estimated that 21% of women and 12% of men in the U.S. will experience an episode of depression at some point in their lifetime. What y'all think? I think that's at least 50 or 60, 70% of the people will receive that, Like, and to explain that, we have all been heartbroken, ladies and gentlemen. I know I have. Oh, yes, I have. Nellie has, Richard has, Derek has, and that can lead to depression, if you don't snap out of it. When my first girlfriend, Susan Landry, broke up with me, I went through dysthymia, which is a mild form of depression, for 20 years, and it's a serious condition.
I wanted to just say something really quickly. I used to suffer from depression a lot worse than I used to, and as a healing arts practitioner, I always look to natural things from the earth. And believe it or not, in all the research that we've done, and when clients come, something simple is changing your shampoo. You remember, Bob, I think you used to be a lot more depressed than you are now.
Oh, yeah,
and
I
we
did.
just did something simple. We started simple. We actually changed Bob's shampoo of what he puts on it, because it's very important that you keep your hair and your scalp healthy, because you need that circulation, for your skin, and that affects the rest of your body. And believe it or not, it affects the oxygen levels. So really kind of check into what you're using on your scalp and try to find something, that's look into the chemicals that are on there, and look for stuff that are natural things, with like coconut oil and avocado and these sort of natural things, and do a little bit of research and just try it. You can always go back and use what you've been using if you don't see a change.
Yeah, like bleach is terrible.
Bleach is one of the worst things we found for mental anguish, and I know a lot of people are paranoid about, germs and all that, but there are so many other things. Like, I don't use any more bleach because I found it gave me so much mental anguish and so much physical pain, and it was crippling my bones, and it was just horrible. And with my autism, it puts me into so much mental anguish. I cannot function. It basically paralyzes me. So any little amount, even if somebody's used it in a washcloth, this is a good tip for your children, because children are especially sensitive. Their nervous system is developing, and bleach is just a poison that's unnecessary. When I gave it up, I started using natural sea salt, some Multine borax, and just got some natural dish soap, the one that's milder, and I started washing my clothes with that. And my clothes, my skin was so sensitive, and people with autism and mental illness, they tend to have more sensitivity to everything. I couldn't stand my clothes. It was like it was just tearing the skin. I couldn't stand my, and children, you'll see them, especially children that suffer with, mental problems or autism, they don't like clothes that are scratchy, and they can't sleep on scratchy sheets, and all of these chemicals that are in the washing powder. If you do some research on some of these things, you will say gadzooks, and you will say, oh, what a wake-up call. And that really will, any little thing that you can do to tone down the sensory overload that mental people suffer from and the mental anguish, that really helps a lot.
Thank you, Nana.
I might want to add, walking is good. Even if you don't have a pet, Bob and I have pets, and they love to be taken for walks.
Yeah, that's good for the mind. It's good for your self-esteem and everything.
And for sitting down, if you're doing computer work or something else where you're staring into that monitor, the fellow that did my physical therapy said posture has been overlooked a lot. And then the deep breathing, not hyperventilating, but taking in a breath, counting 4, holding it, counting 4, and releasing. It's amazing how much that releases in the shoulders.
All right, and breathing through the heart, like, thinking about breathing through your true heart, and that really gives your heart a lot of oxygen. And feeds your emotions, you're feeding yourself.
And if you're out there and you have a mental diagnosis, please do not quit taking your medicine. Always take your medicine. If you want to change your medicine or whatever, talk to your doctor.
Or if you want to add anything, even natural supplements can affect your medicine. So talk to your doctor before you take any of those things. They're natural, but they also are medicine, to the body also in some kind of ways. They can actually either enhance your medication, which may not be something you want to do to make it stronger or make it weaker. So always check with your doctor first.
And let me go with this. The depression does not discriminate. Men and women of every age, educational level, and social and economic background suffer from depression. There is no area of life that does not suffer when depression is present. Marriage, parenting, friendships, career, financing, every aspect of daily living is compromised by this disease.
I might add, because the unemployment rate has gotten so high,
Yeah, there's more depression.
because of the oil field situation, watch for those who are around you who are unemployed. Keep an eye on them. Suggest counseling or a support group. Like, we have a support group that meets, 2 of them that meets first and third Sundays, 6 to 7:30. First Lutheran Church, 301 West Farrell. It's right behind the Starbucks coffee on Sellers Trace, just off of Ambassador. The first group is for those who have friends or family who have those who have mental health issues. So the families will know what to do. That may never even heard of mental illness or bipolar.
Yeah, they'll get
or
educated.
whatever. The second group, Connections, is for those who have mental
That's where me
health
and Richard
issues.
go.
It can be something minor like anxiety disorder, or it could be something major with schizophrenia. It could be a combination.
Right.
And because of the shortage, and I'll be frank about this, the shortage of psychiatrists and other doctors, a lot of the ones that have been here in this area for 30, 40 years, are cutting back on their patients.
Right, and not only that, people not being able to afford the fees. What do people do?
Yeah.
They don't have money. These support groups are free.
Yes.
They have people who are trained there. And if you are a family member, especially a caregiver, and even for yourself, if you can learn what your triggers are, this is so important. This helped me so much with my PTSD, my post-traumatic stress disorder, that it has been incredible. You know, it's moved me up to 2 hours away from 3 days of going into crisis with a trigger as simple as somebody saying the word firecrackers can send me, I can be totally happy. But it's just the traumatized part of your brain that goes back and replays it. It's just data that's not useful anymore. And there are so many ways that you can help assist and nurture and feed your brain, your emotional systems, because you know emotional systems are so incredibly strong. And this is your power that you have, because you can either choose, you know, when you're in the best state of mind that you have, try to choose some things to help yourself when you are going to be in crisis, to have some tools, a notebook, write down some tools, practice. If you practice the things when you're in your best state of mind, when you're in your worst state of mind, they automatically kick in, you see, and they remember. It's like when Bob lifts the weights, and you know he became a award-winning muscle weightlifter person, you know, weightlifter. You know, he trained those muscles, so at the moment when he's ready and the judges are watching him and he lifts up all that 300 pounds, or you know, his muscles are remembering because he practiced. It's no different, you know, with mental, because it's a part of us, our brain. It's no different. It's an organ. It's no different from having diabetes. It's a part of us that is not working correctly, and the chemicals need to be balanced in there. So really, if you practice these things, you know, when you're in a good state of mind, they will eventually start. It's like riding a bicycle. You know, they just automatically kick in. And so if you learn about your triggers and learn what, you know, and you can even, you know, watch other people for certain triggers. I have a friend of mine that has various disorders, and I've really studied and watched her, and even I can set her off, and I'm her friend. I don't do it on purpose, but I've written down every time I've set her off, and I'm saying, oh my God, what did I do? I really didn't do anything. I just said something that triggered it.
Yeah.
So that's really helpful.
Yeah, and that brings to the point, one of the treatments for mental conditions that I'm glad you brought that. Cognitive behavioral therapy is a form of treatment that focuses on examining the relationships between thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. By exploring patterns of thinking that's what we've been talking, that lead to self-destruction actions, and the beliefs that direct these thoughts, people with mental illness can modify their patterns of thinking to improve coping. That's what you're saying, though. CBT is a type of psychotherapy that is different from traditional psychodynamic psychotherapy in that the therapist and the patient will actually work together to help the patient recover from their mental illness. People who seek CBT can expect their therapist to be problem-focused and goal-directed in addressing the challenging symptoms of mental illnesses. Because CBT is an active intervention, one can also expect to do homework or practice outside of the session. A person who is depressed may have the belief, I am worthless. And a person with panic disorder may have the belief, I am in danger. While the person in distress likely believes these to be the ultimate truth, with a therapist's help, the individual is encouraged to challenge these irrational beliefs. Part of this process involves viewing such negative beliefs as hypotheses rather than facts, and to test out such beliefs by running experiments. Furthermore, people who are participating in CBT are encouraged to monitor and write down the thoughts that pop into their minds. We always talk about automatic thoughts. We always talk about writing your thoughts. This in the group therapy. This allows the patient and their therapist to search for patterns in their thinking that can cause them to have negative thoughts, which can lead to negative feelings and self-destructive behaviors. That's exactly what you said.
Exactly. And one of the things you can do to even lessen your triggers, and this is very powerful, is just simply tapping. And tapping, you have so much power in your hands. And you just find a space and you take your fingers and you tap. And you can just push colors and say, my name is Nellie and I see blue.
See what this
And you think about the trigger that sets you off.
I don't know what.
And that will sort of help neutralize that a little bit.
Yes, caller?
Can you tell me what is the best therapy for someone that has bipolar and schizophrenic together?
Well, there are, I would say, like we were saying, the call talking about cognitive behaviors. What you're talking about with bipolar and schizophrenia, it's called schizoaffective. And cognitive behavior therapy is a good therapy. Going on one-on-one with a psychiatrist, not with a psychiatrist, but with a psychologist.
Do you have somebody you're already seeing, ma'am?
Okay. All right.
Wait, ma'am.
Do you have
Don't go
somebody
away.
you're seeing already?
Do you have someone you're seeing already to help you?
Just a regular doctor.
It's just a regular doctor.
Okay. I would suggest that
You know what? I have a. We know someone. Social workers are great at this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember that we talked about this, and sometimes if you try different things till you find something that fits you and find someone who fits you, because there are so many people out there and there's so many different therapies, but we are all unique, and the cookie cutter things just doesn't work. We all have individual needs, and the trauma that you suffered in your lifetime and how it's affected not only your brain but your subconscious. And working through the subconscious is something that social service people can do. I have someone who's a friend of mine. She's very great. If you would like to call me after the show, I can't give her name on the show, but I would be glad to try to set you off in that direction and give you her number. And if she does not work with you well and to fit what you need, she's a wonderful person, but like I said, make it fit for you, make it work for you. Then she can suggest someone else and give you a bunch of material that'll set you off in a good direction.
Ma'am, I can give you my number. My number, if you got a pen, you could write my number down.
Okay.
It's 258-9425.
And if you also-
Nellie doesn't like to give out a number on TV, but you can call me and I can give you Nellie's number. This is a lady that was talking, Nellie, the beautiful lady that easy on the eyes.
Also, did
Okay.
you
And
catch
go
our
to the
show
meetings.
about
Try
the
to go to
support group?
NAMI. Have you been to NAMI?
No, I live in a different parish.
Oh, okay. Well, I think they have NAMIs in other
What
parishes.
parish, ma'am?
Acadia.
Okay. Tell you what. Go to NAMI. Do you have a computer?
Mm-hmm.
NAMI, N-A-M-I, Louisiana.org,
Mm-hmm.
or call Denver Nobles at 849-6764.
If you
Or his
849, we'll repeat it again so you can write it down. Denver Nobles is the facilitator for the NAMI group of Lafayette. What's the number, Richard?
849
6764.
64.
Okay.
We meet the first and third Sunday of each month in Lafayette, but each parish should have a chapter and should have a support group. Some of the parishes are unfortunately underserved, but call either Bob or Denver. We should be able to get you some assistance.
Okay. Thank you very
Thanks for
much.
calling
Okay,
in.
thank you for watching.
Okay, okay. Derek, you want to sing another song?
Sure.
Okay, you gave me the name of this one, and I was really intrigued by it. Belarus? Oh, wow. It sounds incredible. So give us a little background on it before you play it for us.
It's just about having someone you love kind of go out of your life kind of thing.
Okay?
So yeah.
Okay, so it's a name of...
Yeah, that's the
Okay,
name.
so it's a name. All right, thanks.
freezing figure that made me shiver in the night. But I held comfort as you lay down by my side. Facing forward, I leaned in further past your grace. And like the others, I pushed you further away. Oh, my bellroom, how I ache for you. I don't know what to do. Oh, my bellroom. Anxious questions waiting outside your door. My shaking fingers pressing numbers on the phone. And I can't wait for you to come back home. But will you make it? These things I'll never know. Oh, my bell, how I ache for you. I don't know what to do. Oh, my bell, oh, my bell, how I crave for you. Don't know what to do. Oh, my bell.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Larry.
That's awesome, man. That is great.
That's so tender
You
and so
should,
beautiful.
you should be in Nashville.
No, keep him here. We wanna
That's
keep him
all.
on.
You come on the show again, huh?
Just keep him
That's
here. Don't even go
awesome.
anywhere.
Thank you,
Just
thank
stay
you.
right here.
And it just brings to mind, you know, he wrote these songs from the heart, you know,
Yeah.
like we're talking, when you're in a somber mood and kind of down and everything, you know, you write meaningful things, like I said, when you're in the valley. And that brings to the point, Nellie wants to read something that she wrote.
I'm a songwriter too. I've been writing songs for a long time now, and I want to encourage you out there. You've seen this beautiful music, you've heard it, felt it, and for a long time, I kind of like hid all my songs, in a closet, and I didn't really sing back then. And so I started getting up the nerve to share them, and somebody said, you really got to do these. These are wonderful. And then I had a few voice lessons, and I got some encouragement and got out, and that was 20 years ago, and I would have never been able to perform and
Without the encouragement.
without the encouragement. But sometimes when I feel heartbroken or I'm feeling a song coming on, it comes out first as a poem. So don't be afraid to write. Get a pen and a paper. And if you make
Write out your
if you
feelings.
make a mark on
Yeah.
your paper for a week,
Sounds